right, well, welcome in, everyone, to Fightcon 2024. Blake O'Rulean, Dre rocking with us all day, and our first guest of the day is going to be none other than Nate Ayers. Nate, it is so good to have you here today, man.
Good to be here, Blake. Good to be here.
It's so hard to hear you in here. It's super loud. It's a packed house here tonight,
Full house
and
today.
all sorts of stuff going on all day long. We're going to be having fighters coming through all day long up until about 1 o'clock. Again, Nate being the first one here, so very excited for it, man. So,
Glad to be here.
Nate, I want to kick things off by just asking you, dude, you're going to be fighting on November 8th.
Yeah.
I had no idea that you would have another fight camp before the end of the year, given that you just got married last month.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But we're always in fight camp all day, every day. No days off. Lucky enough to get married and still be able to train and do everything that I'm doing, you know, training every day.
How did your wife feel about when you said, hey, I think I'm going to take another fight? How was that kind of conversation? Because literally, I mean, what day did you get married? You got married in September, right?
September 5th.
So it's literally been like 33 days, man.
Exactly, yeah, to the day, yeah. So it started with a kiss, and then it said, I love you, and then it said, oh, and by the way.
So what was her reaction to that?
She's super supportive, man. She loves seeing me fight. She loves seeing me go out there and do my thing. So, you know, smooth sailing between the two of us on that front.
So I'm a father. I'm a father and a husband myself. So I instantly go to like the romantic side of this thing. How did you propose?
So it was romantic. I took her to the beachfront of Avila Beach in California. Got some rose petals out. Got the big love sign. You know, the love letters and. Candlelight, waited there for her, and she came up beachfront side, and boom.
If my wife is watching, stop the stream now because I didn't do nothing remotely as romantic as that.
Hey, man. Hey, it's love at the end of the day.
So let me ask you, how was the wedding day itself? Because you fought in July, and then it was just a couple of months of prep to get ready for that. How was it?
It was great, man. It went really good. It was lovely. Everybody showed up and showed out, super supportive, and it was one of the best days of my life.
Did you get to go on a honeymoon or anything like that?
We went on a little weekend getaway, but after this November card, we're going to Mexico.
Oh, have you been there before?
I have not.
Okay, so I mean, obviously you will know this, but tacos in Mexico are like the greatest thing in the whole world. Like
all-inclusive resort, tacos, drinks,
that'll be
everything.
sweet.
So we finish up this fight, we get through this hard fight camp, and then relaxing after that.
Was that kind of the deal? Kind of all right, I'm going to take this fight, then we get to go on the honeymoon kind of situation?
Yep, exactly that, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about November 8th.
Yeah.
Super happy for you, by the way. Congratulations to you and your wife, and wish for all the best.
Yeah.
November 8th, Tyson Royer, live from the Masonic Temple. What are you looking forward to in this fight? Second MMA fight back since that long layoff.
Yeah. I am looking forward to the Masonic Temple itself. I mean, it's a great historic temple down in Salt Lake City. The Freemasons started it, and I'm super excited to see some of the architect in that building and feel some of the vibes and the knowledge of the Masons that were there prior, and be able to put on a great show for the fierce fans.
When you look forward to this fight and you look at Tyson Royer, what kind of abilities and skills does he have that you are kind of preparing for in some sort of way? Because he had a pretty fast knockout just a couple of months ago.
Tyson's no joke. I mean, he's got a lot of skill in the stand-up game, and so we're kind of preparing for that. His striking's on point, so I think my striking's going to match his striking. It's going to be a really good fight there for sure.
For those of you that aren't familiar with the Masonic Temple, it is a beautiful venue. There's not going to be a bad seat in the house. Like, this is going to be really good. So go on to fiercefightingchampionship.com. Now, as a fighter, what's your biggest challenge currently in your professional career?
My biggest challenge as a fighter, staying consistent, being able to train every day, and yeah, consistency. I feel like, you know, life happens, things gets in the way, and some people have to take time off from training, but if you're consistent and dedicated and you know, work your schedule around how you want it to be, then I think, you know, the training speaks for itself.
You know, Nate, one of the things I've always wanted to ask you is you took a little bit of time away, right? Like, you did an MMA fight, you lost that in a close decision. Then you went and did a million jiu-jitsu competitions. Then you went and did a couple of kickboxing matches and were dominant in those. Did you feel like you just kind of had to hone in on both of those skill sets before you could marry them back together to come back to the amateur MMA career?
Absolutely. I think it's super important to be able to be a mixed martial artist. We are in MMA, so from the stand-up to the cage wall to the ground to back up again, all well-rounded. We need to be able to have submissions, have that wrestling, have that striking, and it has to be weaved into one package.
Now, Dre, I will say this really quick. He's an incredible athlete, but he's also one of my lacrosse buddies, one of the few in this MMA world that have crossed over to that lacrosse world. So we're kind of boys on that.
The what? The what? So with youth and mixed martial arts, why is youth martial arts so important to you?
Youth martial arts is important to me. So I actually was a Taekwondo instructor for a few years. I think it instills a lot of good foundation in our youth. It gives them a lot of confidence, and it gives them the skills and abilities to problem solve, go out into the world and think under pressure, be able to problem solve when things are tough, and get through the hard days, and be able to draw out those leaders in the young youth generation.
Nate, I got to be honest. I was working on your board just a couple of days ago, prepping for your fight with Tyson Royer. And something that just flew off the film for me was watching back your fight. To this day, I have no idea what happened. I still do not understand what the finish was. I know it was a submission. Was it the neck pressure? Because the part that confuses me, have you watched it back?
I have.
The part that confuses me is that you were heavy pressure on your forearm, on the neck, which I understand. There was pressure there. There can garner some tight pressure there. But then you let up, and that's when he tapped.
Yeah.
So was he out, and he was kind of like, I still do not fully understand it.
So as you guys know, MMA, it's a high intensity sport. We got that adrenaline dump, and sometimes that adrenaline comes in full force. So you step in there, you're not expecting it, but it hits you. You can have a panic attack if you're not honed in and controlled. And I think my last opponent, Michael Lazarde, praise to him for stepping in there, but I think he got the best of the adrenaline dump there, and I think he had a bit of a panic attack, and then started to lose a slight consciousness, and it led to the sub KO.
Yeah, one of the wildest, and then also, it wasn't your fault at all. You had no idea, but it was kind of a late blow, and I think you knocked him out on that singular shot as well.
It was.
Was that kind of were you like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Because you were still in the fight. Like again, it was just such a weird finish.
And there's been so many fights that I've seen that fighters pretend to tap just to let off the pressure that they're being put under. And so I wasn't sure. I didn't know what was going on. But from my understanding, the fight's not over until the ref pulls you off.
That's something I've always wanted to ask you as someone who's trained for years at this point. Is it ever weird to, at least in a fight, not finish the fight until, the ref pulls you off? I feel like I see this all the time in the UFC. Fighters are tapping, but they don't let go until the ref pulls them off, right? Like, is that kind of a weird, unnatural thing that you kind of have to work through as a fighter?
Yeah, as a fighter, but also as a lacrosse player. When we have that ground ball and we're in that scrum and we're yelling, man ball, you don't stop till the whistle's blown, right? So you just got to keep going until someone tells you not to. It's killed or be killed in there, and I don't want to be on the other end of that, so that's where that's coming from.
You are such a talent in so many ways. And like you mentioned, you mix it up so well. That doesn't come without a great gym. I know the good people over at Sierra MMA, Trey, Joel, Pedro, so many. What is it about that team that is building such great fighters and producing so much talent out here in Utah?
Well, it's a smaller gym. It's not a big, huge gym, so I feel like as fighters, there's probably 5 or 6 active fighters over there, and we're getting the most attention from all coaches there. So we get a lot of feedback, and they're able to see things that we don't see. Instead of being in a big room full of 20, 30 fighters, the coaches aren't going to be able to see everybody at all times. So I feel like that is one aspect that Sierra has, is to be able to really invest in their fighters on a one-on-one training.
I just have one last question for you. I'm the DJ of Fierce Fighting. Do we have the walkout song? What are you walking out to? Do you want to tell us?
We have the walkout song, but it is locked up in a suitcase. We're not telling anybody yet. It's going to be a surprise.
I absolutely love it. I got a couple more that are kind of piggybacked off of what you just mentioned. Number one, is the MMA team growing? I just saw a post today, an MMA sparring practice specific, and there was a lot more people than there typically are at Sierra.
Yeah, it is growing. It is definitely growing. I mean, our classes are getting bigger. There's less room on the mat, that's for sure. You know, our jiu-jitsu classes have
no space
whatsoever. So, yeah, we are growing, and we are bringing more attention to Sierra MMA, and we have plans to expand and recruit more fighters and show Utah what from the ground up from what Sierra can be.
Watching Joel's social media, like Sierra looks like they just have tons of fun too. Like put in work, but it looks like you guys have a lot of fun too.
Yeah, we're not going in there with like the mentality to hurt each other. We're going in there with the mentality to, make each other better. And I think that's one aspect of Sierra that a lot of other gyms don't have. Like a lot of other gyms' mentality is kill or be killed and be the top dog of the gym or whatever. Sierra, no, we're open gym. We're very friendly, and we love to train with each other to make each other better, not train to hurt each other.
No, the culture is top tier there, and that starts with Pedro Sierra, who is personally one of the greatest coaches I've ever had in my entire life. I love that guy to death. You also have kind of a different training approach. This is going to be my last question. What are some of the differences between Sierra versus other gyms? Because I feel like when you're talking about Sierra, it's not, hey, this is the move, let's drill it 50 times and then we'll go to the next one. It's kind of a, hey, this is the situation and scenario that you're in, let's work through it, and then we'll problem solve as we go.
Exactly, yeah. So Sierra MMA, Trey, Pedro, Joel, they all enforce what is called ecological training. It's a new theory and method that they have implemented into their jiu-jitsu, and as of recently of the last year has started implementing into their striking. So we're getting reps on reps on reps in confined environments with confined constraints to specific oriented goals. Yeah.
Sounds pretty legit, Andre.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude.
Legitness.
I'm excited to see the fight, man. Masonic Temple,
Yep.
like, I think the Freemason song should be like the official song for this campaign.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Nate, we absolutely cannot wait for it. One quick time for the stream. Anyone who wants to get in contact with you, potentially support you on your MMA journey, how can they get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me on Instagram, Nathan_Ayers30. You could also reach out to the gym, Sierra MMA, Sandy, Utah. All are welcome. All are invited. Come on, let's get this team bigger and better and show you Utah what Sierra MMA is all about.
You can't see the boots, but he's ready for Mexico.
Ostrich, baby. Ostrich.
Nate Ayers, Tyson Royer, November 8th, live from the Masonic Temple. You
Be
do
there,
not
be
want
square.
to miss it. An absolute top-tier talent here in the state. Nate, thank you so much for the time,
Thank you,
man.
Blake.
Appreciate it. All right, man. Well, we are very lucky. Second interview of the day. It's none other than the former Fierce FC heavyweight champion, Kent Mafileo. Kent, great to be here with you, man. I heard you had a little bit of trouble getting in here. What was going on?
Slight little hiccup, but yeah, we're here now. Yeah,
Giving you a little attitude or something like that?
yeah, they just weren't familiar with me, so yeah, give me a little trouble.
Well, they should be, right? I mean, just coming off that PFL performance, and you looked fantastic in there, man. I haven't had the opportunity to talk to you since then, but we're going to be talking a little bit about that. You looked incredible in there. You represented Utah so well. How was that experience for you?
Oh man, it was phenomenal. It was everything I dreamed of and thought it would be. Just except getting my hand raised at the end, But yeah, it was a great experience.
You just looked so good, like walking out. I didn't feel no nervousness through the TV. I was nervous, right? But just looking at you on TV in that way, because whenever I see you fight, I'm looking at you live, you know what I mean? But to see you put on for the city, put on for the state, you just looked so polished. That fight camp, take us through that fight camp. How was it? I mean, it was a short notice fight. Take us through like preparation for this fight.
Well, I just had the fight with Tarpley in early August 3rd, I think it was. And then I think it was 2 or 3 days later, they called me up from PFL and asked if I wanted to do the August 23rd in Washington, D.C. And obviously I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I kind of hurt both my knuckles in the Tarpley fight, and my foot was a little banged up from either kicking or getting kicked. So I did the preparation. I just kind of the first week after my fight, I kind of just recovered a little bit, and then me and Marco started hitting pads on I think Thursday or Friday that week, and then it was just like, just basically off of one camp to the other. So I didn't really do much. Just hit a few pads in DC and basically just sightseeing. Yeah.
One of the big things that a lot of people talked about was that it seemed like you were sliding on the canvas a little bit. Was it slippery in there?
Yeah, it was. Dude, it was. Man, it's hard to describe, but it's like nothing I've ever felt. Like the Fierce cage is like so much better, in my opinion, just for my feet and the grip. But that was like a suede. It was like a suede. It was weird, man.
That's so strange. Also, I wanted to ask you this. Did it throw you off that you weren't able to throw elbows?
Mentally, yeah, there was a little blockage. Like during when they told me no elbows, I kind of, it hurt my. I don't know how it deflated me a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
what were some of the differences between a Fierce show and being on a big stage? Obviously, the PFL is one of the biggest promotions in the entire world. What were some of the differences? Obviously, we see the PFL hat. Did you get some sort of a fight kit? What were some of the cool things about getting moved up?
Yeah, they gave us a fight kit. It was very professional. They picked us up at the airport. Just the way they handled everything was very professional. But compared to Fierce, it wasn't much different other than walking out by myself. That was the first time I've ever walked out by myself, so that was a little bit different.
As a broadcast nerd, I have to ask you this. Did you have any sort of a broadcaster meeting with O'Connell and the rest of the guys?
No.
I know they do that in the UFC, so I've always been curious.
And I think you could kind of tell that they did it because I'm unbiased. You know what I mean? Shout out to the broadcast team, but I feel like they did my man Marco dirty.
Yeah.
They did my man Marco dirty. Shout out to Marco Sanchez, man, a great coach here in Utah. So I could kind of tell that maybe there wasn't enough prep, and it might be the short notice too.
Yeah, I definitely felt like it was short notice, and shout out Marco Sanchez. We had a good laugh over it, but yeah, kind of you know what we're talking about. It's not. I'm not trying to elaborate on it, but yeah, it was. Marco knows he's got the credit, you know.
All right, I'm going to tell you another thing that pissed me off. When they mispronounced your name, did that bother you at all? Or did it throw you off? Or were you just kind of like, oh, my gosh, I'm already here. Like, what is going on?
I mean, I've dealt with it my whole life, so it wasn't anything I wasn't familiar with, but it kind of made me chuckle. And then when they got it right on the actual fight night, I was like, oh, yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Well, what bothered me was that over the years, we've been told, hey, it's Mafileo. And so I legitimately phonetically spell it out, and it is now ingrained into my brain. But I got to tell you this, Ken, I spent a good 15, 20 minutes when I was told practicing your name in a different way because I was so close. I was so used to Mafileo. So changing it to Mafileo, trying to make it right for the broadcast, of course. So
and my family loves you guys. They're like, man, they do it so good.
Ken, I got to ask you, what is the plan for the future? I don't believe there's an extension of the PFL. Is that correct?
No, they gave me the one fight off contract, but with 2 fight option in the next 12 months. So we'll see, but I'm just excited to get back to Fierce, get back home, and like you said, I felt like I represented Utah and myself, but I know I'm not done, so I want to keep wrecking house here in the state until I get, just be undeniable. And I want a chance to get a full fight camp and not a short notice, because I feel like I'm a different animal at 8 weeks off of camp versus a full camp and then a week and you know what I mean?
I could only imagine what a full camp against that Cameroonian would do, because that dude isn't no joke. That guy is a beast.
Yeah, shout out Nana. He's a beast.
And you were like, man, there was a couple of times where I was like, oh, he felt that. Like, can't put it on him. And if we had elbows, PFL. I'm really excited to see you get back, man.
Me too, man. Thank you, guys. I felt the love and support all the way in D.C. from the Fierce fans and from you guys, man. It was great to be out there.
So just to confirm, obviously you want a full fight camp for your next fight, but when it comes to the PFL, would you not even accept an offer unless you had the full 8-12 weeks?
No, I mean, I'm a gamer, so I'm going to take it no matter what. But I'm just for my best you know what I mean, performance, I feel like they owe me a full fight camp. You know, I came in to save the show, so to speak, for Nana, and I feel like if they give me a chance, even I'll rematch him or anyone. But I'm just saying, give me a 6 to 8 week camp and see how I perform. You know,
And it wasn't like you played it safe. Like you fought a good fight. It was action packed the whole way through. It was not boring, and they know that you're gonna bring the entertainment.
exactly. Yeah, and that's what I was there to show, is just show what Utah's about and who we are, and like what, you know, we're here to win, not here to try to play the scorecard or slide by if I'm ahead if I think I'm ahead in the fight. I'm never thinking about just coasting out. I'm thinking about finish, like to the death. You know, you either kill me or I kill you.
100% finish rate right here. There's a reason for that. It is the way that he fights. I got to ask you that, Kent. You are one of the most entertaining fighters within the entire state. Everybody knows that. That's why you're the man on the marquee so often. Do you have a favorite performance of your career?
I think against Larry Gomez was just because it was so fast and like crispy, and it was exactly how the game plan. That was like to the T game plan. It just happened the first, like basically the first time I threw it. You know, I think I threw the overhand right once, but I kind of held it, and then the next time we were timing his jab to throw the overhand, and it just was perfect. So I think that was my favorite.
That really was kind of your coming out party. Is that when you felt like the steam started to pick up for your stock and your brand as a fighter?
Yeah, most definitely. After that fight, the confidence in myself and the belief in the game plan and my coaching, it just went to a new level. And that's when I felt that I could really compete at the highest level.
Final question for me. I don't know if Dre has any more, but I just wanted to ask you, obviously not on this November card coming up November 8th, not competing November 16th in Idaho, I don't believe, right? Is there a chance we see you in December?
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. I'm on in December. Yep. You guys are going to see me, whether where is it at the Masonic
Temple?
Oh, yeah, Masonic Temple, man. So say your prayers for my opponent, because there's going to be a sacrifice.
I got to say, my personal favorite was not the last one, but the one with Megaton. That one was so much fun. Dude from Florida.
Oh, Tarpey.
Yeah. Isn't that his Megaton?
I believe it was
Megalodon or something. It's Megaton.
Megatron.
Yeah. This guy this was a massive guy. He's big, buff. He's coming from Florida. You know what I mean? Like, this guy was scary. I mean, this is coming from a guy that's not a fighter. You ain't scared of nobody. But I was telling my kid and I was telling my wife, I was like, this dude is no joke. And then it was just a good back and forth until it wasn't a back and forth no more. And I feel like you just put it on him and showed who you really were during that time. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed that fight. But I want to go back to DC. Did you go to any sightsee? Did you see anything that you were like, oh man, this is cool?
Oh yeah, we went to the Washington Monument. We went to the Lincoln Memorial. Went to the White House. Yeah, I probably would have never been to DC if it hadn't been for this opportunity. So grateful for what fighting has shown me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different possibilities in life, and just coming where I come from, man, it's still a win, you know?
Yeah.
I got to go fight in the nation's capital on a big stage, and I didn't get my hand raised, but hey, man, I left it all out there.
Can I give you one critique?
Yes,
You had the USA flag, you had our flag, but we should have had that state flag right behind it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Utah flag.
Yeah, exactly.
Those, yeah.
Red, white, and blue. And the new flag is dope. It's nice. We gotta get you one when you go back out.
I need to get one on my shorts.
Yeah, we got you. You're a father. You got a little girl. How's daddy life right now?
Oh, it's amazing, man. Shout out my fiance Lauren. She's holding the fort down while I go out and get the bacon, so to speak. But we got a good thing going, and I just have a newfound respect for her and all mothers and women in general for just what it takes to raise a little human, and just all the energy and time. And man, it's the greatest job on earth, man. And I love it.
Baby hasn't been in the arena yet, right?
We took her to Bear Lake, yeah.
Okay,
And
but she hasn't seen you fight just yet.
No.
Obviously,
She'll
she's
be there-
super young,
she'll be
but
there in December, though, yeah.
oh man, does baby walk out with daddy?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eventually, I want to do that. When I'm like doing like a big stage or something, I want my son to be right there when I'm DJing. It's just a cool daddy thing, you know?
Ken, that actually brings up a good point. You were at Bear Lake. You're at almost every single show, wherever it is in the state. Do you have a favorite fighter, obviously outside of yourself and some of the guys that you train with? Do you have a favorite fighter within the state that you just enjoy watching?
Yeah, I have a few favorite fighters. I love watching David Kim. I love watching Andrew Pug. That's one of my favorites. We haven't seen Alden Ashcraft fight in a while, but he's on the top of my list. Yeah, Julian Ruiz. There's a bunch. I'm a fan of local MMA, of high level MMA, and I just love to see the guys get out there and put it all on the line. If you're just going out there to try to skate by and get a win, like, it's not entertaining. Like, we want to see, the fans want to see, I want to see everything you got, and just, win or lose, just leave it all on the line.
He is a fan favorite, one of the greatest fighters in Fierce Fighting Championship history, and we are so lucky to get the opportunity to talk to you a little bit today. Kent, thank you so much for the time. We can't wait to see you in December, my man.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Dre. Appreciate it, my man. All right, third guest of the day, and we are super lucky to have a former bare knuckle world champion is what I should say. BYB, BKFC. Sometimes they get a little mixed up in the brain. But nonetheless, Jarome Hatch, who's going to be back November 8th, man. We're super stoked for you, dude. How you been?
Good. Just been kind of dipping down. I feel like it's been a while since I've fought, but it's only been like a couple months. But, I mean, the most I've really taken off is about 6 to 8 weeks over the last almost 3 years. So it's been, I feel like it's been forever. I'm like, I guess it really hasn't. But I'm excited to get back in there and kind of, showcase what I've been working on. So I'm excited about that.
That's one of the things I just got to ask you first off the top. Your durability. You fight monthly, it seems like, whether it's in MMA or bare knuckle, which is even more brutal in terms of the, the cuts and the bruising and everything that can happen. How does your body keep up with this schedule, man?
I mean, as long as you go in there and you put it to the test, and you continue. Like, I take my body very seriously and what I feed it, nutrition, water, make sure that everything's right. And just try to perform the best that I can at 37, trying to keep up with the younger guys. And a lot of it is mentality as well. I'm like, when I start feeling like I'm getting too old and getting older, then at the same time, I start feeling it. But then when I start thinking, no, I'm good. Then really, like, it perks up and I feel a lot younger. But the durability thing, I mean, it's I don't know, man. I just keep plugging away, and I said I was going to take a little time off. The last fight I did, I had a broken orbital, a broken nose. And I told them that. They said, well, we need you. I'm like, I'll do it. It's a test, so we'll see,
I argue everybody, like, the hatchet, I think is awesome, but I feel like we should change it to Deadpool because this dude will not, like, go away ever. Nope. Being a veteran, though, in this game, you're talking about keeping up with the younger guys. What is your thought of our local MMA community here in Utah right now?
So it's actually good to see, because coming up in March, it'll be 20 years I've been doing it. Yeah. So, and I hear always, God, putting down for the old guys. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, I guess I've been doing it a long time, And but it's good to see MMA coming back pretty strong. Because, when I first started out, it was really getting big. We had a lot of big names as far as local MMAs, big stars. And then it kind of started to kind of die out when I'd moved, and I just really didn't see much. And then when, Showdown ended up kind of going down, rest in peace, Will, and then Fierce was able to kind of come up and start taking that role. They're starting to come back. And you see the gym starting to pop up and a lot more competition. And it's good. I see a lot of these guys, they push them, 801 versus everybody. And it's like, I mean, it's fucking rad. I mean, it's cool.
You talk about 20 years, 2005 is the same time that I came into it. But now Coach Jiu-Jitsu, that's the whole reason why I got into MMA here locally, because me and Kofi were in high school together. And I'm talking about going from being at Club Elevate, where the cage was touching the roof, to now we're in arenas at the Maverick Center. To see the growth over the years, I look at vets like yourself, and to see you still around, giving knowledge, being yourself, putting on great shows, I just want to say, like, that's appreciated in our community.
No, I love it. I love still, people holding me up to that standard. And it's really good to kind of build the name that I have. And now that I've started my own thing and training people, it's made me redefine who I am and really breaking down all the dumb shit that I've done in the past. Like, I broke down my fights. And I'm like, why the hell did I do that? Why did I do that? So the biggest difference now is like I'm older, so I have that IQ. It's a lot higher than these new guys. Like, yes, they're faster. They're not stronger, but they're faster, you know, and they're not as durable. They don't have that mindset of what we had, you know, back when, I mean, that I'd come up in. It's a really sensitive, like, motherfuckers are sensitive nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, they are. And if you're durable, you can take it a long way. Because a lot of time, if you can't put somebody away, it will diminish you as a fighter trying to put somebody away. Like the last guy, you know what I mean? He was like, he kicked me in the nose, and I still just kept coming, stuck my tongue out, smiled at him. He was like, what the hell? And
Let's not
like,
forget the blood that came out of his face while he did that.
Yeah, and you know, so it's just, I mean, it's all part. It's all, a lot of it's mental, man, and you can't. You got to put me out and put me away. And even then, I'll come back. So.
Deadpool.
Yeah, sure.
Jarome, you're at, I believe, 82. Okay, I have
my 183rd.
I have it on my board. I'm ready for it, and it's such an incredible statistic. Do you have a specific fight that you will never forget, and potentially maybe it's that one from April, because that was an unforgettable night for everyone?
You know, I feel like I got robbed, and people, you know, like I've watched it. You know, by the third round, I had, you know, almost 200 punches more landed to him than what he had on me. I don't understand how. I've looked at the rules. You know, I've talked to people. I don't get it. That's why I wanted a rematch right away. And then Zach was willing to work things out and try, but the guy said no. So I thought that I'd get my shot at my belt again, and some things gonna happen. You know, we won't get into all that, but you know, I want my belt back, and that's the only time that I'll come back for Fierce again is for a belt. Like this because I can really take it a lot further in the bare knuckle. You know, becoming the first world champion to ever come out of Utah. It's been a big thing, and you know, the pay. I do it for Fierce. I like Zach. I like Cody. I like what you guys are doing, and I love the community here and the fans. And I've been fighting in front of them for a long time, and that's why I still come back and want to do it. I make a hell of a lot more, you know, in that, because it is a rising thing. I mean, dude, that's the biggest deal with it, and that's why we do it. You know, I love the way they're doing it. I'm trying to help them build something and continue. And dude, Fierce has been nothing but good to me. So it's a good promotion. I'm at that point, I'm at the crossroads in my life where I'm like, okay, I said I would hang it up at 200, but then I thought it was at 190 at the time, and I was at 180, and I'm like, fuck. And I went to these last fights, you know, and I'm seeing these guys at 47 really put up. I'm like, hell yeah, I got this. I got 10 more years. Fuck yeah, you know. But as long as I can continue to go in there and do my thing and not take a lot of damage, which I've taken some damage the last few fights. So if I continue to take a lot of damage, then before I get punch drunk, you know, I don't want to hang out at the party too long. You know what I mean? I enjoy it, but where I'm seeing these kids put things together that I'm coaching, it really lights my fire inside. So I'm kind of gravitating more towards that. But I don't know, man. I love it. I really do. I love fighting. I love testing myself. So
before I forget, I just want to ask, how can kids get involved in your coaching program? Because you've been talking about this for a couple of years now.
Yeah. So they just get a hold of me, like anything on all social media, the Hatch MMA. My business is the Exalted American, or the Exam for short. And it's been awesome. So we go through and we teach these kids life skills, simple things like, you know, changing tires, changing oil, simple mechanics, you know, tools, different things that they need to know in life. But everything through health and fitness. We teach them simple nutrition. That way it's like, dude, still be a kid, but have fun. Well, then the parents, the dads were like, hey, would you do boxing? I'm like, I'll try it. Well, that started to blow up. And then, of course, the moms, you know what I mean? Like, hey, what about us? I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll try it. You know what I mean? And then that's starting to really gain traction. I started that a few weeks ago, so it's starting to really gain traction. I've got a couple girls that have come out of different gyms, and they've worked with me for a week and a half, and they're already starting to piece people apart in their gyms, and they're like, what are you changing? What are you doing? Like, working with Hatch. And like, Jerome's training. And it's just because I hadn't really put it out there much other than what we've been talking about and through social media, you know, and I'm just trying to build it I tell people, if you want to work out, we can do it that way. But I'm teaching you things that work. Like I don't sugarcoat things. I'm very to the point. But I want you to really feel safe. And my whole goal is to make you feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations, because that's what happens. You know, out there in the real world, like you have to continue to keep going. And that's what I'm really trying to push and help people understand. That if you can be durable in there, you can be durable in life and take on whatever this world's got to give.
Life skills that we all need, right? Yeah. One thing that always stood out to me with you in walking out is your family.
Yeah.
What does being a dad mean to you?
That is it, man. That's my number one thing. And that's actually one of the reasons why I still continue to compete, is because I'm constantly testing myself, even with the kids that I coach, but even my kids. Like, dude, no matter what, they've seen me rise all the way to the top. They've seen me fall. You know, like even over the last year, man, I've had a slide. I've had a lot of kind of shit going on. I keep trying to deflect what I have going on in personal life to my fighting, and just still trying to push through and test myself. And it keeps just kind of ending up, even though I don't think I'm falling short, I'm still falling short in other people's eyes. And so I'm like, it's all right, guys, you'll be back. You know, but my kids, they walk me out. They're my biggest fans. You know, I love them, but I just want to show them that no matter what, no matter even if you're at the top, still stay at the top. If you're at the bottom, there's always room to go up. So
no matter how loud the arena is, you'll hear his son.
Oh yeah.
No matter what.
Absolutely.
Do you hear that in the cage when you're getting down?
So yeah, so I've even talked to him about that, you know, because they do hear that. And I'm like, dude, I want you to do that. But like, even when my hands are up, or, you know, like, keep your hands up, like, oh, I'm like, you know, because you can sway judges that way. Like, dude, you're telling them, like, hey, be careful with what you say. You know, even if he does tap, that ain't shit, Dad. That ain't nothing. You know what I mean? Like, be more on the positive side of things versus don't let him do that. And I'm like, he's not even doing shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 10 feet out and you're telling me to keep my hands up. Shut up, kid. But, you know, but like, I'm like, I just want to turn around and be like, you know, but no, I mean, dude. And they're there for the sport. I love it because they see me test myself, and it shows them that, like, hey, no matter what, dude, go out and test yourself. So I've talked to them a little bit. I hear my kids, I hear my coaches. That's it. Except for this last time, man. And y'all caught a video of it, man. When I was in there in the 5th round, and I'm like trying to really, and you guys caught it right at the time, so I wasn't completely I wasn't like exhausted. I was trying to regroup and like calm my heart rate down before that 5th started. And everybody's just yelling hatchet. And I'm like, that is my favorite video you guys caught, because that right there just, I mean, it lights it up, man. It does do that. That is the whole reason why I do. That was the only time I've heard the crowd. That was the only time. Like, I get in there, I zone in. It's me and you, and I'll hear my coaches, and I'll hear my kids. But when I heard that, man, it was like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
That's one of the best pieces of content we've ever put out. I absolutely love that clip.
Cinematic.
Yeah.
Cinematic.
That being said, talking about your kids a little bit, Jarome, do any of them want to follow in Dad's footsteps and compete? I know one of your sons is wrestling here today, but how does that make you feel putting on the dad cap?
So, you know, I can tell my kids, I'm like, I have taught you everything I can. Dude's 15. I'm like, taught you everything I can, and I'll always continue to guide you through my faults as a person and making my bad decisions. But you got to mess up. You got to make your own things. Take on the world, man. If you want to go down that, he's like, yeah, I'd like to fight. I'm like, ooh, man, I had a hard time when my twin brother fought, you know, and like, just because like I want to get in there and like, dude, what the, you know, and you know, mess the dude up myself. I was talking to a buddy last night, and he was like, dude, it's way different when you have your kids in there. And I couldn't imagine. You know, I couldn't imagine. Like, it's because you want to make sure that they're prepared for anything that may come to them, but with the same respect, you're not going to know until you get in there. So it's like, get in there and make your mistakes. It's kind of like entrepreneurship. You know, you just got to get going. So it's like, get in there and make your mistakes, but learn from them. At the same time, it's my kid. You know, I'm like, oh, like even thinking about it, I'm like, ugh. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, man, but I support my kids no matter what. So,
speaking of fighters in the state, Chris Chu, do you know?
I didn't hear you.
Do you know? Have you seen Chris Chu compete?
I'm better with faces, man. I don't know.
So there's a kid at Fierce Fighting Championship who's been very active over the past 5 or 6 months. Very similar to you in the sense that he's as durable as they come. Obviously, a great fighter, gets his wins all the time, but he can take damage and just keep moving forward. I'm just curious. I would love to see you two interact because I feel like those two guys are cut from the same cloth. So I was just curious if you had seen them.
Yeah, I'll go back and check them out. Said that's one of the biggest downfalls, and I've started paying attention more since I started the gym and really trying to. And I say gym, it's more of like a center, you know, because I'm actually looking to take on like troubled youth, different classes that way. But I want to start paying attention more to the local talent, and that's a big thing to me. I never really did. It's always been a hobby, so that's why it's like, oh, you know, like even the dude that I'm fighting in November, I was under the impression that he was going to be 245. And I'm like, yeah, I'm game. You know, like, and now, you know, I signed the thing, and I'm like, wait, it says 205. And I said, yeah, he's going to come down. I'm like, okay. You know, all right, you know, but.
You mentioned troubled youth, at-risk youth.
Yeah.
Is there something in your history that makes you want to go that route?
I mean, yeah, I come up in and out of the system that way. A lot of charges. Luckily, I was able to get a lot of them, you know, dropped and kind of slid by that way. But I teach kids like the anti-bully thing, and even your anti-bully for adults, you know, whether it's financial. But I mean, we're in a society now where, especially with the internet and everything, it's very easy to kind of feel discouraged. But the only way you can do it is if you really don't give a shit what people think. The only way to do that is build your confidence. So with the troubled youth, it was kind of an outlet for me. Like the last time I got charged with it, the judge told me, so next time I see you in here, I'm going to throw the book at you. And ever since then, I've been in maybe a dozen fights outside of the cage, in the street, but it's been all over the U.S. A lot of it had to do with, you know, union, non-union shit, whatever, you know. So, but it was all that way. And so it really, if I can help somebody get away from, you know, their vices, whether it is drugs or whether it is, you know, I mean, dude, I've had a childhood. I've had these things where I've had every excuse to do what I've done. I went through the drugs. I went through all that stuff. And it's like, okay, it wasn't for me, but if you can't master the thing between your ears, you're not going to go anywhere. So if I can help guide people to, again, be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, then why not help kids do that? So I'm doing that to where I can open up a whole nother avenue with the troubled youth until they can, quote unquote, be rehabilitated or whatever. You know, it's like, I'm not going to bring in these people, their kids, with people that are troubled youth just because of the way, unfortunately, Utah is. You know, they look at me different with my tattoos. But if they look at my tattoos, I got guys that fight, gargoyles, it's protectors, you know, windmills, stacks, things that I've done throughout my whole life. That my tattoos tell my story. It's not nothing bad, but people just look at tattoos here as a little different. And it's been a different thing coming back to Utah and understanding the dynamics of that. So, but as far as being able, I want to help guide people and show them there's a way, an easy way out. And it's not even to compete. It's just to understand and really channel their, you want to call it anger or you want to call it trauma or whatever, just channel that to where they can be okay with it. And in boxing, wrestling, MMA, you know, like anything along that, it's mano a mano, it's one-on-one. There's nobody to blame. It's not a team sport. Like, that's you and him, and you have to face it, and you have to swallow your pride and notice, like, okay, he got me. The ego, it checks your ego quick. He got me. Why did he get me? Because if it's a loss, as long as you learn from it, it's not a loss.
Do you remember an because it seems like you're a very humble guy in the way that you talk. Do you remember a pivotal moment in your life that you were humbled?
We're gonna go through like the whole ceremony stuff.
You know, there wasn't
and maybe it might be the judge. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the judge kind of did, but at the same time it was like, well, and I had a kid on the way at the time. I was 17, and you know, I mean I messed up that way, and stupid, all, you know, trying to have fun as a kid growing up, and what you think is fun, and you know, just
hormones are mother.
Oh yeah, absolutely, you know. And it's like, that's why I tell my kids, man, I'm like, hey, you see a good-looking girl? Cross the road, man. You can look across the street until you get your shit together, because this is where I was, this is what I did. And they learned from me. I said, dude, like, I got a 9-month-old. I'm way more
Damn.
intentional now. Dude, I got a 13-year swing with it. You know, so my oldest, she's almost 21. She'll be 21 here on the 14th of October.
Oh,
And
man.
now I got a 9-month-old. So it's like, I have such a swing. But as these kids were growing up, I was there, very intentional with them. You know, I was the dad. I was in all their sports, really involved. But now I noticed the little things that I'm missing with my littlest one because now I can really be there. And I'm noticing these things a lot more. So it's pretty cool. Big pivotal moment that way. And like, it's just a different dynamic, you know? So it's been good. But as far as like what you're asking, the most pivotal moment for me was, I guess after I won that world title, I would have to say that, you know, like thinking, okay, yeah, I have the power, I have this. Like now I can just still go in there, and as long as I land one, I can hurt him. It's just I got to get it. But then, you know, the dude that I beat, we had a rematch. That rematch I disagreed with, you know, the outcome. But then that third one, I tried to switch up coaches, and I'm just like, no, I got this, you know, and I was doing it for the wrong reasons. And he was a better man that night. And when you win the world title, you think, oh, okay, well, I got all these things. I'm the first bare knuckle world champion to come out of Utah. I'm going to get these sponsors. Like, people are going to be coming in, you know, and it's like, yeah, I have a name here. I don't mean shit. You got to keep striving. You think you can just coast when you're there. No. They'll knock you down and keep knocking you down. So you have to keep moving forward always. And that's a big thing that I push. So.
Speaking on moving forward, I do want to bring it back to that Hamza Salim fight in April of this year. Round after round, us in the commentary booth were saying, I don't know how they're going to make it through another 5 minutes. What was going on in your brain from round 1 through 5, each round, and what was the exhaustion level like by the time you got to those 20th minutes?
You got to be relentless. You know, even like, you know, actually, so David Goggins, when he comes into mind when it comes out, you know, you can't beat anybody if they're not going to quit. So I will not fucking quit. He could have went another 5 rounds, and I would have beat him because he would not have been able to finish me. Even with that kick, when he landed that one, and I teach my guys that all the time, like, all it takes is this. What'd he do? I come down too far, and he cracked me. So it's just that simple things, you know. But as long as you're relentless, and you keep moving forward, you will slowly chip away at their pride and their thing where it's like, fuck, I can't put him away. And you discourage him. And so that's my biggest thing. Always move forward. And as long as you're relentless, man, you keep plugging away. When me and him got into it, I had all my guys that go to my gym. I had all the kids that I trained for soccer, athletics, and stuff. And I've always told them, no matter what, how tired you are, I don't give a shit. You keep moving forward. Don't fucking quit on me. I don't care if you're tired, and if you're crawling, do not quit. So what? I can't get out there after, you know, in there and then show them, you know, oh, it's easy to quit. No, I won't quit. I have no quit in me, and that's why. Because I practice what I preach. So that's a big thing for me.
That's one of the reasons it's the most legendary fighters in the history of Utah. That answer right there. November 8th, Christian Edwards, live from the Masonic Temple. What are some of the things you're looking forward to in your return to MMA? I know you fought back in July or June. I'm trying to remember. Tough enough in Vegas. Coming back from that, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm actually really excited to kind of show, like, I've really dug in. Like, I've only been working with a couple of people that they're not people I've usually worked with. So that way I've been redefining myself. So I'm really excited to show that, especially with the jiu-jitsu side. He is a lot longer, he is taller, so I've really been driving the jiu-jitsu side home. And then also with the boxing too. I know that if I hit him, he'll crumble. But with how tall he is, we've been working different avenues of takedowns and trying to really kind of, and even understanding the rules to where I can really utilize that in my arsenal. You know what I mean? And so I'm excited about that. You guys are going to see a whole different you're going to see a new guy. You can be like, okay, well, hey, this is what he does. Okay, well, now he's not leaving himself exposed. Now he's not doing this. What is this? Now, you guys might see a Jarome Hatch that take somebody down there. Hell,
yeah, what's this?
Yeah. So it's all what it is. Like I've been working that to where I can surprise people because everybody says, take him down. That's their game plan. Now I'm like, all right, take it down.
Real quick. It's been 17 years since Jarome Hatch has pulled off a submission win in his career. If you do that on November 8th, I will lose my lid. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I think my last one was Casey Euskola.
07.
Yep, and it was funny because I learned that choke literally the day before.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, oh hell yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah. So I've been looking. I would like to try to mix it up and do some submission finishes.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
And so you know, and my whole thing is like people come to watch. They come to watch me. And I've grown such a fan base because I don't like to roll people around and try to dry fuck them. I want to come out and put on a show. But if I can beat him up and submit him, or I can just get in and actually utilize that and show him like, hey, maybe he is actually an all-around fighter. Then I mean it's too late in the game for me to kind of try to make it anywhere. But I definitely continue to hold that gatekeeper here in Utah. No problem. So.
Being a vet and being a professional, obviously you overcome a lot of things. What's your current biggest challenge right now, professionally?
Life, man. Still trying to figure out life. So, yeah, and trying to, everybody always says a balance, but there's not a balance. You'll never find a balance. They have a thing, it's like, oh, family time or girlfriend, wife, like there's always something that's going to give. So you have to have a good person to be able to understand that, whether it's your family or whatnot. But for me to try to find something that's my biggest thing. I'm still trying to figure out is like making sure that my kids still get the time, and I mean, well, I ain't got to worry about, the relationship side, you know what I mean? So I just making sure that I can really focus on building this business and focusing on what I need that really lights my fire and keeps me grounded to where I can go in with a clear mind. And it's something we've always, everybody tries to figure it out. It's like, oh, why? That's probably my biggest thing right now. I'm 37 years old, trying to figure life out. So everybody that's not to that point, like, understand it's a road, So I've fought through a lot of different things, personally and stuff. So it's a good road, but I'm still trying to figure it out. So.
Jarome, you have such a full story. You have so many things going on, and we're incredibly lucky that we get to watch you on a big stage, perform in the cage, and all the incredible memories that you have given us. Just one final message for anyone who's looking to support you November 8th, live from the Masonic Temple. How can they get a hold of you? How can they help you out? What are some of the ways to get a hold of you?
Through social media, the Hatchet MMA on all of them. Also, the exam for my business. If you guys are interested in like really supporting me, guys, I'm not taking a purse on this fight. My fight purse is based on ticket sales. So because I'm confident that I can bring enough people. So just know that when you guys purchase a ticket, I get a bigger percentage because that's my purse. So Fierce isn't paying me to come doing it. I'm paying myself through ticket sales. So to support me, just do that. Get a hold of me. Support my gym. I'm always looking for different sponsors and stuff, or people just willing to help kids that can't afford, doing it. If they can chip in 20, 30, 40 bucks, help somebody out with a month thing, help them get their gear. Anything helps. I'm trying to bring unity back to my community. And that's a big thing for me. I'm huge on unity. And if we can support each other by doing that's all I want. I want to help people. I want to help kids. I want to help everybody. I want to help families. So
I did have one last thing, and I've always been curious watching your fights for years now. Your boxing coach, Strowman, right?
Yeah.
When you're warming up, you're walking out to the cage, he hit you down.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, damn, he's hit him a little too hard. Has he ever hit you too hard where you're like, yo, you need to chill, I'm about to get in a fight?
No, actually, so I like it because it sparks everything. I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Now we're in, we're locking in, so yeah, that's one thing. That's actually one thing that I really like that he does, because it lights everything up, gets all the blood flowing. So I actually, I really enjoy that, and hey, when it's smacking, I guess kind of like foreplay, you know what I mean? I enjoy it, baby. Like, come on with it, So it's all good, man.
That's funny. One of the long-lasting staples here in the state of Utah, an absolute legend in every way, a world champion bare knuckle fighter as well. Jarome Hatch fighting on November 8th. Tickets on sale right now at fiercefightingchampionship.com. One of the best ways in which you can support him. Jerome, appreciate the time, my man.
Thank you,
Always a
guys.
pleasure. Oh, man, well, this is a special one for me. A good friend of mine, Kaytlin Neal. It is so good to have you here at Fightcon. You just finished up your meet and greet. How was that?
The meet and greet went well. I met a lot of fun fans. There was a lot of cute little wrestler girls, and that was so fun just to see like a younger generation of girls that are wrestling and competing here at Fightcon, and so that was so fun.
Is that one of the reasons that you do what you do? Obviously, you have such a big name in this MMA space. And I would assume that one of the big motivations for you is inspiring the youth, making sure that there's a next generation of female fighters that follow in your footsteps.
Totally, yeah. No, especially in Utah, there's not a lot of women that fight in general. So I really try to inspire younger girls to get into martial arts. It's such a good self-defense mechanism. It's good for building confidence. It's good for building athleticism. So even if they don't end up fighting, it's just a good base to have and like good skills to learn in life.
How hard was that for you when you started coming up in the MMA scene, when there wasn't a lot of female fighters? It was hard to get fights. We have so many female fighters who are in different weight divisions that are saying, I want to fight more. There's just not a big pool of people. How hard was that for you when MMA was even less popular 10 years ago?
Yeah, no, it was really hard to find fights, especially in Utah, because a lot of the fight promoters back then didn't make like a lot of money for shows, so they couldn't fly people in from different states either. So I had to travel a lot to like Idaho and Mesquite and stuff to find girls who would fight. But yeah, it was a lot more difficult to find fights back then.
One thing, we're talking about youth. My son's really into boxing right now.
Yeah.
He's been boxing since February, and it was nerve-wracking for him. You could tell he was nervous. What advice would you give a parent or maybe a young youth that maybe is interested but scared to go into a gym? Because gyms are intimidating.
To go into a gym specifically? Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is just to realize that you belong there too. And if you are going to go into a gym, just bring a friend with you. So that way you have a training partner built in. You don't have to worry about being the new kid or whatever. You guys are both new. You're both trying it out together. And then once you get more comfortable at the gym, then you'll be able to go there by yourself and you won't have to have that person. But I think the biggest thing is like most MMA gyms are very friendly. They're very welcoming. It's a high learning environment. Everybody wants to teach. And so most people are very like welcoming and friendly. And yeah, just bring somebody with you if you're super nervous.
Dre, I'm going to flip the script a little bit. When are you going to be fighting?
Oh,
Zach won't give me a big enough contract. I'm down. I just told him it's going to be this amount of, X's. He's not down. So it's on Zach.
Kaytlin, can you imagine seeing Dre go compete when he's the DJ of the show, making the walk himself?
I would love that. I say we do it. I'll DJ for you and you fight.
I like that. I think that's fun. Kaytlin, PFL flyweight, been away from competition for a little bit of time. Obviously the knee. Can you just break down for the audience maybe what happened and kind of just the road to recovery for you? It's been a little bit of an extended period.
Yeah, so I was training for the PFL $1 Million tournament. I was supposed to be an alternate in the tournament. And when I was training, I was just wrestling one day and tore my ACL. And I had torn my opposite ACL for 3 or 4 years prior. And so it was kind of a bummer. I knew the road to recovery is really long. I'm like 5 months in. It's about a year recovery. So I've just been trying to do my best to stay on top of physical therapy, keeping my spirits up. But it is a bummer being out of the sport for so long, especially being like 32 years old too. Like the time's ticking down. And so I'm like, all right, we got to get back on the mats. We got to get my body right, but we're getting there.
And not only that, but very soon before that injury happened, you did have a fight scheduled. You were on location, and I believe the opponent missed weight or were you a replacement? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, so I was an alternate for the PFL tournament, and I
That's
actually tore my ACL training to be an alternate, and then my opponent pulled out, and so then they still had me weigh in, so they paid me to weigh in and still be an alternate, so if something happened that night, I could have fought any of those girls on a 30-minute notice, and I was willing to do it even though I knew my ACL was torn, and luckily I didn't have to go in there and fight anybody, but I still got paid to do it.
So what is the road to recovery? You just mentioned about 7 more months or so. It's been 5 months already. How much longer until you're able to kind of be as mobile? I know you're on your feet, which is good, right?
Yeah, so I can like strength train right now, and I've been doing a lot of that. And then I have 1 more month until I can get back on the mats and start drilling again, and then another 3 months until I can go live. So I'm just excited to get back on the mats and start being active again and being in the gym. But other than that, just strength training right now.
A lot of opportunity that you have had. You know, you've had some setbacks with injuries. How did you manage your mental health during that time? Because me personally, I had back surgery. I was down for 9 months, wasn't able to pick up my son. Depression set in on me. So how did you manage your mental health?
Yeah, so I've been through injuries before and I knew how hard they could be. And it's honestly just taking it day by day and still showing up and treating physical therapy like training, like practice, and just focusing on what you can do while being out. Because when you're competing in a sport that consumes most of your life, and you kind of let other areas of your life go. So you're not really focusing on like relationships as much or friendships or family. You kind of put those on the back burner when you are competing and are fighting. So I just use that time off from training in the gym to really develop relationships and also like focus on business and stuff like that, just like making money or like coaching clients. And that really helps my mental health because I'm focusing on giving back and developing relationships, whereas I normally put those on the back burner.
Kaytlin, you're obviously one of the most accomplished fighters within the entire state. Obviously, the platforms that you have created for yourself. What does it take in your eyes to get to that next level and find success as well?
In fighting? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm fighting.
Yeah, so I think with me specifically, I think it's just like getting my mindset right. I feel like I have the skills, I have the tools, I have the knowledge. I just need to get my mindset in a place where it's like, okay, I need to believe in myself. Like I am a really good fighter. I do belong fighting on the biggest stage in the world. And I think it's just winning like a couple more fights, stringing them together, and then we'll see what goes from there.
How much has it been behind closed doors, under dark lights, in which you have had to really build up the skill acumen to get to where you are? You're not some overnight success who just showed up to a gym and was able to fight. You didn't even begin fighting until you were already in your 20s. So how much time has it taken to build up a attribute list in order to compete with literally the best fighters in the world?
Yeah, so I've been in the sport for 12 years now. I was an amateur for 5, and then it took me another 5 years. Ooh, there's a bug. It took me another 5 years to get onto the Ultimate Fighter. So it took me 10 years from the day I started up until I was 30 years old to get in the Ultimate Fighter and start competing on big stages. And then obviously I got signed with the PFL. So it's taken a lot of time, lots of hard work, and been grinding a lot. I know there's a lot of girls that are like young in this sport and they get put in the UFC at like 23, and I'm like, holy crap. But I like that it took me a little bit longer to get on bigger stages because I don't know if I would have been ready at 23. So I'm glad that I'm more developed now.
You know, that being said, tonight, UFC 307 in Salt Lake
Yes.
City. Obviously, one of your old friends, Juliana Pena, going to be fighting as well. Who do you have in that fight? How do you see that all playing out? That's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, by the way. There's a little bit of history behind that.
Yeah, so I was on the Ultimate Fighter. Juliana Pena coached the opposite team, and so she coached against me. I was on Amanda Nunes's team. Juliana, I think she's going to win tonight. I don't think Raquel's on her level, and I think Juliana's just gritty, but I want Raquel to win. So.
And that being said, what do you make of the fight below it in terms of Kaytlin Vieira and Kayla Harrison? Because everyone is calling it that Kayla Harrison steamrolls Kaytlin tonight, and then she is next up in line, and that's going to be a shoo-in as well for her.
Yeah, no, Kayla Harrison is like worlds above and beyond Juliana Pena. I think Kayla Harrison is the champ already. I think the best matchup for Kayla Harrison would be Norma. I'm not quite sure how to say her last name, but I think Norma would like
Dumont.
Yeah, Dumont. Yeah,
The French girl.
that would be an awesome fight. Kayla Harrison versus that's a fight I want to see.
You know, you create so much content, and I just have to ask you, I used to train in Agema. Obviously, my wife and I live down in St. George now. When do you have time to film these videos? Is it before practice, after practice? Do you just have a key to the gym? Like, when are you in the gym filming these videos with Brendan and David and Boyd and all these guys?
See, all of the above. So right now, now that I'm out from injury, when I show up to the gym, they're like, oh, Kaylin's here to film a TikTok. And so, yeah, right now I'm just there to go film TikToks and hang out with my friends so I can still stay in the gym environment. But normally I do it after training. So I focus on training, get it done, and then do the video. But if I want my hair to look good in the video, then I do it before. But I try to do it after training. So my main focus can be training.
I see we got the white forces on the feet today.
Yeah.
Are you a sneakerhead?
I would say yes. I love Nikes.
Favorite sneaker ever owned?
Oh, gosh. I know this is super basic, but I have the panda dunks, and I like them. I like the way they look.
That's wow. That's normally the unpopular opinion. I feel like is the panda dunks.
I think they're so cute. I don't know, but then I also have like a couple Jordans. I have like some high top Jordans. I really like those. I don't know. They're all just fun.
Classic right there. That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, okay, she knows her thing right here. I thought she was gonna say Travis Scott.
I would have liked. I mean, the Travis Scotts are cool. I can't believe the panda dunks. That's incredible.
I know.
I love
it.
that.
It's very basic and trendy right now, so I think that's why I like them.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure, just in general, or
Maybe it's like I love ABBA or I love McDonald's double cheeseburgers. What is your guilty?
Can I
I
take
want
a
you to
guess?
guess. I want you to guess.
I think it's reality TV. Am I incorrect?
Yes. No, it's
There we
reality
go.
TV. I
Know
am a
your
reality
analyst.
TV
Know your
junkie.
analyst.
So as on the Ultimate Fighter, my next goal is to get on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I think that would be so fun. maybe if I get married, then Salt Lake City Housewives. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. That could be fun also.
You can beat them all up. That ain't fair.
But they would beat me up verbally. I'm not a good verbal fighter, but like physically, yeah.
Yeah, literally the nicest person in the entire world. I mean, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to ever be mad at Kaytlin. Luckily, we've never had any issues in the broadcast booth or anything like that. You also train a lot at Syndicate.
Yes.
I am very curious for the future. You've been here in Utah for a little bit of an extended period of time. Is the plan to go back to Syndicate when you're healthy for another training camp, or is the plan to maybe stay here in Provo and work with the team at Agema?
So right now my plan is to go train at Syndicate. It depends on if they have a lot of girls there. I know the girls kind of like ebb and flow. And so my last fight camp or my last two, it was kind of hard to get girls in there kind of. And so I'm just going to see if they have a lot of girls. I like working with John Wood. I think he's an awesome coach. He's really good for me mentally. And then also there's like a lot more guys my size at Agema now. So I'm kind of hoping I can like pull something together and maybe I'll stick around here. So I don't know. I'm kind of split 50-50, but I still have till next year to decide.
Okay, so I've got a couple questions there. Number one,
Okay.
teammate Khalil Roundtree competing in the main event tonight.
Yes.
Who do you have in that fight? Obviously, John Wood been by his side all week.
Yes. I am going to go with Khalil. I know he's a bit of an underdog, but he is a freaking monster. He is a beast, and he trains so freaking hard. So I'm hoping he pulls off the upset. Fingers crossed.
I have a weird inkling that I think he can do it,
Yeah.
and it's solely off of this. I truly believe that when a UFC fighter becomes so famous that it's almost bigger than themselves, I think of Sean O'Malley back in 2020. I think of Conor McGregor when he fought Floyd Mayweather. It just seems like history typically repeats itself in the sense that when you're up on your highest horse, not saying that Alex Pereira is, not judging the character, but just the star he's become, typically they fall. So we'll have to see how things play out tonight. Salt Lake City always queues up for some crazy pay-per-view cards. So very,
Khalil a softball?
I believe so. I don't know off the top of my head.
Southpaw. I think he does, and I don't think Pereira has fought a southpaw like that. So I got Roundtree.
I feel like, okay,
All right.
I think we're all sitting here on.
Let's go.
I love it.
Team
Fingers
Roundtree.
crossed. Fingers crossed.
So my follow-up question, Kaytlin, was talking about some of the people that you train with in the room. I feel like you've really taken Brendan Myers under your wing. And there's a lot of other lighter weight fighters who have really been, I feel like, alongside you for the last couple of years. How much have those smaller bodies been, how valuable, I should say, have they been for you over the years? And how much have you kind of built a community at Agema with those specific younger fighters?
Yeah, so I don't know if I took Brendan under my wing so much as he stuck himself under my wing.
I see.
So I don't know. I just started showing up to the gym, and Brendan and Andrew and David all started like hanging out with me and talking to me. And normally I kind of like stick to myself. I'm a little bit awkward and shy at first, and then they all just started like becoming my friends and training with me a bunch. I'm like, these guys are great. Like, they're good fighters. They're good rounds for me. They hit me hard. They don't care if I'm a girl. And so it's awesome to like watch them develop. And I feel like the better they get, the better I get too. So it's like we're all just growing together. And so I love training with them.
What do you make for the future of some of those guys? Obviously, David Kim just winning the amateur bantamweight strap. I've heard rumblings of him potentially going down to 25 as well to take that one as well. What are your thoughts on David Kim and just the talent pool there at Agema?
I think David Kim is probably, if not the best, like one of the best fighters out of Agema. I think he is so talented. He's so good. And I think he could go really far if he really decides to. I know he's juggling a lot, balancing. He just like opened up a martial arts gym and being a dad and stuff, but I think he could go far.
Kaytlin, one of the last things I wanted to ask you was specifically, you are, I know you don't like this, and I know that when we talk about it, you kind of shy away from it, but you are famous. You are very well known. You have a very large following. Have you ever had any weird interactions with fans or just out and about and someone comes up to you and talks to you and it's maybe just a weird interaction that you've had with someone? Or is it mostly online? Because I feel like that also happens.
So online, of course, I get like a array of crazy people and things happening. But
That's why I asked this question.
I just want what the DMs look like.
Can we pull them up? Can we pull them up? I don't know if they're appropriate.
That
but
would
we
be a
can pull them.
wild video.
I get a lot
DM roulette.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if we would get shut off live. So yeah, I get a lot of weird things about my feet online, so that's why I blur them out. I get men trying to fight me. That's also weird. I've never had that in person though. Everyone in person is normally like so cordial, nice, and just like excited to meet me. But yeah, I just try to like become friends with the trolls or like agree with them, and they're like, what the? Like, I thought she was gonna get mad and defensive, but no, she's like agreeing with me on this. So I don't know. I try to like win people over, but it is what it is.
I feel like you've won the masses over time after time. Every time I've been able to interact with you, you're just one of the coolest, most humble people in the entire world, and cannot wait for what the future holds for you. What is the plan? Is it to be ready to go 7 months from today, or is it 7 months and then maybe, you know, a short 8 to 12 week fight camp?
The goal is PFL $1 million tournament in 2025, whatever that takes. I want to get $1 million next year, so we'll see if we can do it.
Once you win that $1 million, can you break me off a little some?
Oh, all right.
Just a little some.
$2, I got you.
Whoa. I mean, enough to get some pandas. I mean,
All right, if you fight,
let's be panda triplets.
I can pay for your fight.
You'll sponsor me?
'Cause
All
you
right.
said there wasn't enough X's.
I got one last question for you.
Okay.
Halloween's coming up. Do you have the costume ready?
Ooh. So I'm not sure. I'm not 100% set on this. But if you watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, there's a girl named Taylor, Frankie Paul. She's like the head girl of Mom Talk. And she was pregnant. So I think I'm going to be her. I'm going to be pregnant. And then her boyfriend is Dakota. And so I'm going to dress up my cat like her boyfriend. And so it's going to be Taylor and Dakota.
That's creative.
Absolutely love it. Told you, reality TV. She loves it. That being said, Kaytlin, such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for giving us a couple minutes of your day.
Yeah, of
Cannot
course.
wait for the future for you.
It's always a pleasure.
Very excited right now for the opportunity to chat with my man, Joel Haro. This one's special. We've been going through interviews all day long. I think of all of them. I love everybody who we've had the chance to talk to. But, man, this guy's got a special place in my heart. I love this dude like no other. Joel, how you been, my man?
Blake, I've been doing really good, my friend. It's good to see you. Dre, it's good to see you too, especially in an interview setting. This is awesome.
Happy to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't expected to be here, but Mike was like, yo, hop in. We got third chair. I was like, I'm down. Let's do it.
Well, no, dude, it was so funny because I was told that we were going to be live streaming and it was going to be myself and Dre and then a fighter throughout the entire day.
Sure.
He gets here and he goes, wait, I'm supposed to be behind the camera. I said, what are you talking about? No, you're in front of the camera, my man. You're talent.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, dude, he's Utah's talent right here.
Oh, we're lucky.
292, right?
I mean, it was.
It was.
Now it's 92.5 to beat. Rest in peace, U92.
R.I.P.
You
U92.
bring up a sensitive subject, all right?
My bad.
Hey,
my bad.
I will say this. I've actually been getting in the radio space as well a little bit myself, doing football and stuff down in Southern Utah. It's a blast, dude.
Yeah.
Like doing radio is really, really fun. You don't have to worry about any of the video aspect. And that is like a foreign language to me, the fact that you don't have to deal with that. Like, that is just so nice. How do you enjoy it?
It's community. It's community based, right? It's the last free thing that you get, like local media. I mean, podcasts are awesome, but there's nothing like hearing your friends on radio. Like, the broadcast thing is just, it's beautiful. It's not going nowhere. It's just, man, you talk about not doing video. We have to do video now. Like, you're a one-man band in this digital space now. But yeah, it's fun. It's cool.
You're speaking my language. Speaking of which, you're a broadcaster yourself, my friend. And I asked you if you could actually help us commentate in a couple of months, but unable to do so for some other specific reasons. Do you care to expound on that?
Yeah, possibly. Are you talking about December or November? What
I
are you
well,
talking about?
well, I am talking a little bit about November
Okay.
because we did ask you if you could commentate, but
Sure.
you're unable to because you're going to be cornering a little bit. Is that correct?
It's possible that I'll be cornering. Haven't worked that out yet with the fighter. So I mean, I'm planning on cornering. If not, I would definitely love to be in the booth with you. It's been a little while. I think since the Price show, right?
It has
One
been
of
since
them?
the Price show, and that one was special, man.
That one was fun. We had a good time with you on that one. But yeah, I mean, December's going to definitely be a no-go for me to be in the broadcast booth. We got something big in the works. You know,
Oh, he's bringing over the exact belt that
You
he's
know,
going to be
we see
competing
this.
for.
You see this belt right here. I should be having it on my shoulder right now, but due to some unfortunate events, I didn't get to collect it back in May, unfortunately, which is fine. Yeah, December, got big things coming. Can't really say what's going on. I mean, obviously I'll be fighting, but can't give out too many important details. So you guys are just going to have to hang out on the edge of your seats to find that out November 8th.
I hate all this cryptic talk, man. You're fighting for a big promotion or fighting for a belt? What we got going on?
I'm definitely fighting for Fierce. I'll be fighting here locally for Fierce at the Masonic Temple, putting on a show there. There's gonna be fireworks, man. It's December, and a couple weeks before Christmas. Christmas is coming early. 4th of July is coming early, bringing fireworks into the temple, so it'll be great. It's gonna be good.
Joel, how frustrating was that in May when that fight got canceled just days out? Because I got to be honest, that was the most mad I've ever been for a fight cancellation in my entire life.
Dude, honestly, at first it didn't really affect me too much until I got done with my first workout. That's when I got my call from my manager letting me know what's going on. I'm heading up to my second workout, and I had a long 45-minute drive up to the dojo, and it hit me literally right after I got off the freeway. I was like, what is going on? Like, this can't be real. But I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do to change it. Yeah, of course I was mad. I was pissed. It's a fight game though, whether, pullouts happen. In fact, my first few fights as an amateur, my opponents pulled out. Three or four opponents pulled out. One guy showed up 2 weigh-ins, but didn't show up to the day of the fight. So like, it definitely brought back some memories from my amateur career like that. But at the end of the day, man, like, I was ready. I was prepared. I put in the work, made a lot of sacrifices, with traveling and training and training with some big names and stuff. But I mean, it just made me a better fighter in general. So, I mean, we'll just have to repeat the process again for this next fight and show everybody who the champ of Utah is.
You mentioned the dojo, and I know that you've been training at Sierra, the dojo, even been getting a little bit of work at Agima as well. Where is home for you right now?
Home is Utah. I mean, that's all I can really say. I mean, I kind of call myself a nomad now. I don't really have like a home gym I train out of. I train at the dojo once a week. I train at Die Standing Boxing Club with Joe Bish once a week. I'm there at Agima twice a week. And then I'm at Sierra once, maybe twice a week. So, I mean, I'm kind of a nomad. I think Utah's my home in general. So, bringing Utah fighters together, I think that's what it's all about, supporting Utah fighters. Utah MMA is blowing up right now. So,
But that saying of Utah versus everybody, right? Like, I feel like that's the main goal is like, go and get a little bit of everything.
absolutely.
Do you feel like everybody's on the same page with that same mindset? Or do you feel like there are still gyms that are like, nah, you need to stay here. This is your home.
Definitely. I feel like there's a lot of gyms out there that don't allow cross training, which I think you're just hurting your athletes in general because cross training to me is very important because you definitely get different looks, and you're also helping the other fighters there that are training with you, right? I know I'm not in a big show yet; it's happening, but I mean, like at the same time, like David Kim, for instance,
The best bantamweight in the state of Utah.
the best bantamweight in the state of Utah, dude. That was so funny.
That was so funny.
I'm sitting there ringside recording his fight, and I'm hyped. I'm like, yeah, go David. I'm filming him. He sees that I was filming and walks right up. I'm the best bantamweight in Utah. I just looked at Cody. We just started laughing. I was like, oh, it's David, dude. You can't get mad, And then after the fight, he's like, in his post-fight interview, he's like, I might have said some things that I didn't mean, so I'm sorry. I'm not sure if that's what he meant, but like I thought it was hilarious he said that. We talk after the show. Joel, I am so sorry. I'm like, dude, you're good, man. Like, you're the best. You're part of the club, man. You're the #1 amateur in bantamweight here. So, like, the best train with the best, right? So,
Joel, I have to ask you this. I was literally just a couple of days ago watching some tape back for two specific bantamweights, that being Jackson DeGray and Nasir Davis. We were watching it. We called that fight together. When you see these young kids coming up, the amateurs,
totally.
are you licking your chops? Are you thinking, oh man, I mean, that guy, I might fight that guy someday, even though they are still young in their career? You're well into your professional career. What do you make of this up and coming class of bantamweights?
I think it's great. I think it's great to see the skill set of the amateurs throughout the years. Like, for instance, when I was an amateur, like, there wasn't a whole lot of guys that were amateur that are as good as the amateurs today, right? So it's cool to see an experience for, at least for myself, when I was an amateur, seeing these guys fight and then progressing into my professional career. But then looking back at all these guys that are fighting as amateurs, I'm like, dang, they got good cardio. They got good technical skills. They know what they're doing. Like, it's pretty cool to see. Honestly, I'm not really looking forward to a fight with either one of them, honestly, because I'm sure maybe one day we'll cross paths, but nowhere, not in my future. I don't see any fights happening with either one of them. If it happens, cool. We'll still put on a show regardless. But I've trained with Jackson DeGray a few times too. So I mean, people in the sparring room see us go at it, which is fun. Like, we get the best of each other, I feel like. But no, I mean, I forgot your question, but
No, that answers
answered
it. No, that absolutely answers it. You mentioned being a nomad, and I find it so interesting. You faced Kesley Collard, Warren Weingartner, obviously potential opponents in the future, like you just mentioned.
Sure.
You've trained with a lot of these guys after the fact. What is it like training with someone who you have fought and prepared for in the past, and then going in the room with them with no stakes?
Dude, it's actually pretty cool. So Warren and I, we train up at the dojo at Bobby King's gym, and like, we've never partnered up, we've never drilled together, but this last week we sparred.
I saw that,
and it was a lot of fun. And Warren's such a nice guy. He hits me a couple times. I'm sorry, Joel. I'm like, dude, stop apologizing. You're good, man. Like, show me some of those kicks you're hitting me with. Like, he's kicking me, I'm punching him. Like, we just had a good time, man. Like, there's no egos, especially with Warren. Warren's such a nice, down-to-earth guy, and I don't think I have an ego. So I mean, yeah, it was great, man. We were playing back and forth, and like, Kesley and I have trained together before after our fight, and that was fun too. He punched me, I kicked him. Like, it was, nothing but love.
With a guy like Warren, do you guys ever like look back and go like, oh, I caught you there like 3 years ago, I caught you again right now? like do you guys ever like refer back to the fights? Like, I'm serious.
Messy, dog.
Dude,
you messy.
Blake's over here like, pour some
No,
tea,
I'm
Joel, pour some
serious.
tea.
I'm serious. Hey, it's vice versa, right? Hey, I'm gonna say this. He dropped you too. I'm just gonna say that as well. So I will say it goes both ways. We're not playing Homer here.
Definitely goes both ways for sure. No, I mean, I feel like he was a little timid.
Sure.
Because it was the first time we sparred since our fight, and I'm over here like, dude, don't hit me, man. Punch me in the face, kick me.
Yeah.
Then he started kicking me, hit me with that left kick, that sneaky left kick he's got. And in my head, I'm like, dang, that's what he hit me in the fight with. I threw my right hand. Oh, that's what I hit him with. Like, I mean, obviously in my head, yes, but like, it is what it is.
Are you? Do you represent yourself? Are you part of a management team?
So I work with Lance Spod with Iridium Sports Agency. Jason House is the owner. I signed with them after my fight with Kesley, actually. Signed with them, and it's been good working with them so far. And I believe in their agency to get me where I want to be, and it's obviously shown in some of the fighters that they represent. So looking forward to the future for sure.
Is it tough balancing business and focusing on being a professional fighter?
Can you define your question a little more on that?
So like representing yourself, understanding like you do a really good job on social media, and for me that's business, right? That's marketing.
Sure.
Like, is there a part of you that's like, I don't want to worry about that stuff. I just want to go into the gym and train.
Oh, dude, all the time. I'm like, I mean, if you look at my social media, I took a break from Instagram ever since the fight got canceled after that fight week. Like, yeah, I was training. like I could definitely share a whole lot more of my personal life out there, but dude, it's work, man. And sometimes I'm like, I took a photo. I don't even want to post it. I don't even know what to caption it, and it's hard. But at the end of the day, you have to force yourself to do it. So I appreciate you saying that I do a good job at it. My Instagram doesn't tell me that I do a good job at it, but I appreciate that.
Algorithms suck. It's something I don't think we'll ever understand fully.
Totally.
But I always tell people, like, Dominico Salas does a really good job at his social media.
Absolutely.
He's active and stuff like that. And I think that some of our fighters in our community need to take pieces of each other. Some people do really good with social media. People suck at social media.
Yeah.
And it's like, you put on great fights. You need to build that following. You need to show your supporters, like, why they need to come and buy a ticket.
Absolutely.
Keep them informed on what's going on. That's why
Totally.
UFC does a great job with Embedded, is because they're investing into the storyline.
Yeah,
You know what I
absolutely,
mean?
exactly. And I'm glad we're touching this subject too, because my friend Jeremy from Arizona, Jeremy Rodriguez,
That guy's the man.
he's the man, dude. Him and Samson Fomabout have helped me out so much with just like content to put out. And like my friend Jeremy, he's come up to almost every single one of my professional fights to video everything that's going on from early Monday workouts on Monday of fight week to the weight cut to the end of the fight to the after party interviews after the fight, etc. And then you got Samson over here trying to teach me more about how to brand myself. This is what you got to do. You got to get out and network. Like, part of that's a reason why you guys started seeing me travel out to Colorado, travel to different gyms, and just network with everybody, which has been life-changing for me in itself. When I spent that last month in Colorado for my fight camp, it was awesome. Learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about where I want to be, where I want to go with fighting, and yeah.
Where has Samson been? I feel like he hasn't been in Utah in a minute.
Dude, Samson,
he's all over the place.
He's all over the place. He's another nomad, man. But like, he's doing huge things. He went on tour with Five Finger Death Punch and Metallica. He's also been blowing up Subversive at their events in California and PGF, and just been competing. I know he's got a torn. Sorry, he's got an injury.
He's fine.
He's okay.
He's completely fine.
Samson, if you're watching this,
Nothing
I am
happened.
sorry. Yeah, nothing happened. Can we cut that out? But yeah, dude. Anyway, yeah, Samson's been all over the world, man. He was in Amsterdam, Russia. He was traveling everywhere, dude. Living the life.
Joel, I want to ask you as we come to the near end of this, what is your timeline like? Obviously, you're going to be fighting in December. A win there, where does that move you? And kind of just what are some of the talks with the management in terms of where your trajectory is over the next couple of years?
I mean, I can't really speak too much on it, just because I can't release who I'm fighting.
Sure.
Obviously I don't have my crystal ball in front of me to predict the future, but a win over this next opponent's definitely gonna project my career into the right direction of where I want to go. And I'm not limiting myself. I don't want to limit myself, but I'm open to all different offers. If Glory came back and was like, dude, I would love to fight for Glory Kickboxing for you. I don't know, but if the UFC came knocking on the door, absolutely. You won one championship. All right, let's take a look at that for sure. Bellator, PFL. I don't know. We'll see. I'm keeping all my options open, but you just got to stay focused on the task at hand for December 13th.
I just got to slow things down really quick. I've been covering the UFC all week long, been interviewing fighters, been in the room with all of them.
And how has that been?
It's been really, really cool. The entire time I've been thinking, could I envision Joel Haro there? And I can.
You see Jolito on the stage
and,
at the press conference.
And
man.
I genuinely mean this from the bottom of my heart. There is no one that I want to see succeed more than this guy because of the person that he is and the friend that he is, and also the commentator as well. You are just one of the cream of the crop when it comes to fighters here in the state of Utah, and we're extremely lucky to have you, man.
Thank you, Blake. I appreciate that, man.
And an iconic photo. The point, I told you it's going to the studio. I'm blowing that up. I'm hanging it in the studio.
One of the greatest moments in Fierce Fighting Championship history, no doubt about it.
That was completely unplanned. It just kind of happened in the moment, So like looking back at it, I'm like, dude, that is so cool, And what got me even more excited was I'm not sure if you guys know who Eddie Albasolo is. He's a American Muay Thai legend out here in the States, and we follow each other on Instagram. I didn't know that until he liked that video that you guys had posted shortly after. And dude, I was like, dang, that's awesome. I'm getting some a little bit of recognition from some of the people I look up to, you know. So like, but yeah, like the spinning elbow stuff, that's something I've been working out a long time throughout my amateur career, and to be able to throw them now as a professional, like it's awesome, man. And when it works, I got you.
One of the most talented guys in the entire state. Joel, how can people help and support you on this journey as you lead up to December?
Absolutely. You can follow me on Instagram at Joel Haro MMA. If you're here in Utah and you want to learn how to throw some spinning elbows, hit me up for one-on-ones. And just follow along on the journey, man. Whether you hate me, you love me, I appreciate your support. That's kind of it is what it is, man. So just creating that fan base.
I'm sorry, I got one last thing.
Absolutely. What you got?
What's your go-to meal after a fight?
Oh, bro.
I like that question.
That's a good question. Pizza. I'm a Ninja Turtle at heart. So like,
I just said you had the big backpack, look like Donatello. What's the toppings? What are you doing?
Oh, dude. So it's a tradition after every single one of my fights, ever since I was an amateur to professional. We'd always do like a big after party at my house. Now my mom's like, hey, I'm holding all the after parties. You know my mom.
She's the best.
She's the best.
So sweet.
She loves everybody. She's like, all right, I got 5 pizzas. Sweet. There's always like barbecue chicken, buffalo chicken, cheese, pepperoni. I don't really mess with like the mushrooms and stuff on that. So usually there's a smaller one of that. I don't really touch it. But yeah, man, just pizza, and that's about it, really. You know, I'm pretty boring.
I love pizza, man.
Yeah, dude, pizza's great.
Hell yeah.
Except it makes me feel like crap the next like 2 hours after. You know.
Last question from me. UFC 307 tonight. Who do you have in the main event and the co-main event?
I'm gonna go with Alex Pereira, of course, for the main, and you know, for the co-main, I'm going with Raquel Pennington. Because like I've trained at the gym that she trains at, and
she's so nice.
She's such a nice person.
She's cool.
And you know, I also followed her career before she got into the Ultimate Fighter. She got in the Ultimate Fighter. I was rooting for her, and like, dude, I think she's awesome. I think she's gonna come away with the win. Not a huge Juliana Pena fan, so yeah, Raquel all the way.
Joel Haro, everybody. Man, thank you so much. Really appreciate the time.
Hey, thank you, Blake. Thank you, Dre. I appreciate you guys.
All right, that being said, sometimes we get the opportunity to chat with some of the Fierce FC team members, and one of them that we haven't had the opportunity to talk to yet is our man behind the scenes, SAYGEN CHAMPNEYS. Am I pronouncing that well? Yep. CHAMPNEYS?
Yes, sir.
Okay. SAYGEN, it's so good to talk to you. And for those who don't know what you do, can you just explain really quick and break down what you do for Fierce? Because there's a lot of hats that you wear.
Honestly, I think I've touched every single process, every single bolt in the cage, every single person that interacts with Fierce. I've had my hands in everything at this point. I don't even know what hat I could be considered wearing. Like I'm all over the place. Everyone literally refers to me as Fix It Felix because that's my job, is to fix all the problems.
Seen it firsthand. I've seen everything that you do.
Yep.
I'm waiting for you to hop behind the DJ decks and do that next.
Well, I mean, I am kind of curating this after party thing, so I guess you could say I have my hands in that too now.
There you go. What has been, obviously there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of fun that happens with this. What is your favorite moment going through this whole thing with Fierce?
I think at the core of my being is I just like to build stuff. Zach and I have been business partners for over 10 years at this point, and we've built other businesses, and just I think the culmination of bringing everything together, not only from the business standpoint, but from just the fans and the experience, and being able to provide like a cool space for you, you know, like you got your dream job, and that to me is the most fulfilling opportunity. So to just be a part of the whole entire process and building it, and like that's my jam. Like just giving people opportunities and letting them showcase themselves and giving them a cool platform to do that with.
So I'll break down a couple of things that we don't have at Fierce Fighting Championship if we don't have this man. Number one, we don't have a cage to fight in if we don't have this guy. He is in charge of putting together the cage. And I actually had the chance to help you guys out a little bit at Bear Lake a couple of shows, or about a show ago now, thinking about it. And I was kind of blown away at how much of a process it is and how much goes into that specific part of it. Not only that, this man also takes care of tickets. If you go to a Fierce Fighting Championship show, this guy is the one processing your payments, figuring out and divvying out all the different fighters and where they get their credits. That's just two of the small things. But for you, what is your favorite part besides maybe an actual practice that you have to do with every single show? What's your favorite part of fight day or fight week?
Honestly, I love putting the cage together. It really feels like I'm putting together like the gladiator stage, you know, like I am creating a space, not only physically, but energetically for these athletes to come and debut or show up and show out, you know, like to me, the cage is more than just putting together a cage. Like it's a big deal. So
Being a man that's running around everywhere, have you actually been able to enjoy some fights? And if so, who do you like to watch?
those are big questions. Yes, a lot of the times at the Maverick Center, my job is a little bit more chill. The Maverick Center was dealing with tickets and I didn't have to do any of that. So Maverick Center stuff was super nice. I got to hang out with my family. I get to run around, hang out with you guys during the show. But man, obviously like the big names. Mafileo is a good friend of mine. Joel, Jarome. Like I can't say that I have one particular fighter, and I don't like to be biased in any way. But yeah, I love this stuff, and honestly, I still have a bit of that imposter syndrome because I myself have never fought. Zach and I were actually just talking about I need to start training. I need to get involved a little bit more. And I know that you've even been doing jiu-jitsu and stuff as well. So I feel like I'm the last piece of that puzzle. I need to start getting myself involved and actually see what it's like and see what it takes to participate in your guys' sport.
Do you have any specific gym that you think you might be interested in joining or anything like that?
I would probably just go to One Hit. It's pretty close to me. Obviously, I want to work with Zach, so I get Cole Faust in my corner too. I feel like that would just be the place for me to go.
What are some of the fires, and I know that there is a litany of them, that you have to put out on a specific fight day or fight week?
That is a bold question.
You could talk for hours, I know.
I've literally fixed the cage during the fight, at our Warehouse 22 Center.
I was just about to ask you about that.
So, it really just depends. Sometimes things go really smooth, and I don't have much work to do on the actual fights, and I get to just sit and enjoy everything. And sometimes it's complete mayhem, and people are falling out of the cage. So I just show up for whatever, and I try and just go into everything with as much confidence as I can. And I know that I got you guys, as support in whatever way I need to put out fires. But yeah.
Okay, so I am going to talk about the biggest fire you've ever had to put out. Yeah. Literally, middle of the event, the entire crowd is packed. 2 fighters fly through the cage. What is your initial reaction to what you had just seen?
So I actually didn't see it. So I had looked over last second at the screen, and I saw that they had actually fallen on the ring girls. And so I was at the ticket booth, so I ran out, and then I realized that it had just kind of turned into a mess. And I knew that I could fix it. I didn't know how. But about midway through drilling those holes is when I realized the pressure that was actually on me. And I think my whole body immediately started to sweat because I knew that if I couldn't fix it, the show was over. There was no winning. So, that was the most intense feeling that I've ever felt during the show, or the biggest fire that I've ever put out. And like I said, I was fine up until halfway through drilling that hole, and my whole body just got wet.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, we all have our own type of special skills and the reasons that we do the jobs that we do. When that cage broke, did you know exactly what you had to do in order to reinforce it?
I didn't know how it broke at first.
So that was kind of the big question. And then honestly, I just knew that I had random parts in my toolbox. And as soon as I looked in that bottom drawer, it just kind of all hit me. And I don't know, I just went into work mode and I knew what I needed to do. And I was just afraid that I wasn't going to be able to drill through that metal.
It's, you know, when that situation happened, it was the first time I've ever seen anything like this. And it made me think, like, there's bigger guys, the heavyweights. Think about heavyweights that go through, you know, on the cage. It made me think, like, why don't we see this more often? How, you know what I mean? Because it's a lot of pressure. You got two 280-pound guys going against this cage repeatedly. It's gonna shift a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people. So we have two different cages, and a lot of people wonder, you know, why we use one or the other. That's the biggest reason. If we have big guys like Kent fighting, you can't use that cage. You cannot use that little cage. It won't do the trick. So I think now I've reinforced it enough that I think I'd be confident to let the big guys fight in there. But man, you just never know.
You mentioned that you love to problem solve, you love to build businesses and things like that. What is it about Fierce Fighting Championship that over the past couple of years have made you want to be a part of this process? Obviously, meeting Zach is a big part of that.
Yeah, so Zach and I, we had a lot of other. You're good.
It's in the corner. Back corner.
So this is actually a perfect example. Zach likes to cause a lot of problems, and usually I'm the one to fix them.
Sorry.
Crisis
Thanks,
averted.
sir.
Crisis averted.
No, Zach and I we've been business partners for, like I said, 10 plus years. He started fighting, training, and then Jason came along with Damage Plan podcast, and I just kind of got involved in that whole thing, and we loved the idea of starting their own promotion, and yeah, that whole story is kind of crazy, but we were actually going to buy Steel Fist. That was our initial push. They came back with a number. It wasn't really within our budget. And then Cody found out, and he just kind of like handed over the keys to the Ferrari, basically. It was like, if this is something you guys really want to do, then go for it. And we just couldn't turn down the opportunity. So Zach was just like, are you ready? And I just said, yeah, let's go.
And that was what, 2.5 years ago?
Yep.
That being said, do you have any specific favorite memory, whether that be at an event, setting up with the team? What's your favorite moment in Fierce FC history?
Man, I think when we were in Idaho Falls and that first show, when we sold out, those of you that are on my Snapchat, you'll know that I was literally crying because I just couldn't believe it. It was the first time we ever sold over 2,000 tickets, our first time in Idaho Falls. I believe Kent was fighting, and I think he won.
Joel was fighting that night. That was when Joel fought.
One?
Yeah.
But yeah, just that was it for me. It was like we had broken through barriers that we didn't think that we were going to break through, and yeah, that was the most like special moment for me, I think.
We cannot break barriers without this guy. There is no way that we can do half the things that we do at Fierce Fighting Championship without him. SAYGEN, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this upcoming event. I know that you are dealing a little bit more with some of the operations. Obviously, you deal a lot of operation stuff, but an after party as well that you're kind of leading the dance with. What can people be excited for with this event after the fights on November 8th?
So the reason that I wanted to do this is everybody wants to continue to mingle after the show, and nobody ever knows where to go. Nobody knows where to go to get food. Everyone's going to different bars. So I really wanted to create a space where the fans can actually mingle with the fighters post-fight. And it's also my birthday 4 days before November 8th. So I was just kind of like trying to piece all this together. The Masonic Temple is the coolest space. You have the auditorium upstairs, and then right underneath that is this big banquet hall ballroom, and we're renting the whole building. I just figured we had to utilize it somehow. And so the after party just kind of happened.
So really quick, with the after party, are you going to be breaking down the cage? Are you going to be downstairs? When do you go downstairs? Like, how are you going to be dancing between the fights plus this after party?
That's kind of the real test for me, I think, is I want to see, have I created the teams that I need in order to be able to step away from everything a little bit more. I've built a really solid team for the cage. We're super efficient. Like you saw in Bear Lake, we ripped that thing down in 1 hour. So the plan is tentatively the show ends 10 to 11 o'clock. I get everybody started. We get everything moved out by 11, which is when the official after party will start. And then we're good to go.
I don't know if you know all this yet, but if you buy a ticket to the show, is that an automatic admission to the event, or is it a separate payment? How does that all work?
It's a separate payment. So the if you buy a ticket to Fierce, there's a half off ticket to the Glow Pop after party.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Dre, any other questions you got for Sage?
I know a DJ.
Dude, I would love to have you. Honestly, if you're good for it, let's talk about it.
Cool. Yeah. Unedited, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That's another question that we keep getting asked. Is it 18 and older? I don't have a solid answer for you yet. As long as the bar is checking IDs at the moment, then I don't see a problem with anyone under the age of 21 participating in that. But I will let you know, and then you can let everyone else know.
That will be the plan. This man builds systems, and he does an incredible job at it. SAYGEN, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes out of your day. Appreciate you, my man.
Dre Rocca, Blake O'Rulian, CURMEL MOTON here. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good, man. So I want to say out of Vegas, but by way of Salt Lake City, right?
Yeah.
Okay, your fight, is it Money Team that you fight under?
Yeah.
How does it feel to be a professional boxer so young?
It's amazing. I worked since I was a little kid, 4 years old for this. So, it's really just a dream come true. I knew all my hard work would pay off. And, I'm just getting started really in the professional ranks, So I plan to go a long way with it and just take it as far as possible.
You are growing so fast. I mean, you're getting notarized by people from here in the States, from outside the States, everywhere. Like the spotlight is on you right now. Do you feel pressure with so much attention?
Of course, there's always gonna be pressure, especially with like the attention like that. But pressure makes diamonds, and like I'm a diamond, and I'm a shine.
Who got you into boxing? Was your pops?
Yeah, my dad got me into it when I was real young. He grew up boxing a little bit. And, he's a big fan of the sport, and then so when I was born, he introduced me to it. Then I told him that I wanted to do it, and we've just been going ever since with it.
My son, Tavian, he fights out of Durham Boxing here in Bluffdale, Utah. And he's been doing it since about February. So it's very basic. He's learning his footwork, everything like that. But there are some days where dad has to kind of like, yo, let's go to the gym. Let's do this thing. Did you ever feel like, man, Dad, I don't want to do this?
No, not that I didn't want to box. But of course, there's days where you don't want to go, Every day, most days you're not going to want to go, really. But you got to dedicate yourself, You got to do things that you don't want to do, especially if you want to be great in anything. And, of course you want to box, but sometimes you don't want to put in the work, but you have to. It's part of it.
You talk about being great, and obviously you have a very high ceiling and a very talked about boxer up and coming. What is it in terms of mindset that you have to have in order to be unwavered and unshaken at such a young age? You have to be very mature to rise the ranks at a young age like yourself.
Yeah, definitely. You have to be mature. You have to understand the game and how serious it is. And I just have to believe in myself. I'm young, but, I've been doing this a long time. I got a lot of experience. So, I'm on the same level as all the other guys, that's older than me, all that. If anything, a higher level, And, I just have to believe in myself and put in the work.
When it comes to the talent pool in boxing, guys your age, are other people on your radar that maybe you want to meet down the line, or is it more so just focusing in on yourself and whoever comes, it's all game?
Yeah, I'm mostly focused on, me. I'm just whoever my promoters stuff put in front of me, my next opponent, I'm opponent. That's what I'm gonna focus on. But of course, there's a lot of guys, my age that's coming up the ranks just like me, and I'm sure with me down the line.
How do you stay focused off of the girls?
um, you know, I know what I want to do in life. Girls, they're gonna be there. Of course, hang out with them every once in a while, but the main focus is to become a world champion, and that's what I'm focused on. So I'm not gonna lose focus.
What brought you to Fightcon here in Salt Lake City?
Adam had introduced me to it. He got me the connections, and then I looked it up and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's dope. I'd love to come here. And then I got my own boxing clinic here. I'm teaching some fighters, some younger generation of guys, and some guys like my age and even older, 30s, 40s that just, barely get into boxing, want to learn, So I just was real down for the experience, and I feel like it'd be great. And so far, it has.
Majority of your life, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So when you're from Utah, is there something in you that's like, I need to represent Utah? Or are you like, nah, I'm representing Vegas?
I was born here, so I represent both. I grew up in Vegas. Vegas showed me a lot of love, and I want to build that love and repertoire out here in Utah. I want to get the city behind me and have their support as well.
Yeah, I know for sure. Like when my brother AK told me about you, you were young, man. I think it was maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, and so I've been following your journey, and you've been killing it a lot. Are you 6-0 right now?
5-0, about to be 6-0 next weekend.
Oh man, professionally. Yeah. Now, is it you get past this fighter? Are you trying to fight again before the end of the year?
Yeah, I should have at least 2 fights lined up before the end of the year.
Wow, man, busy. So coming out of the money team, what does that mean to represent that brand and that dynasty, I guess you would say?
It means a lot. Growing up, I looked up to Floyd Mayweather a lot, and to be a part of his team now and to be his #1 prospect is really just a dream come true. And I plan to live up to the medical promotion's name and just I don't know, just live up to the name and put on great performances.
I don't think we talked about this at the top of the interview, but how old are you?
I'm 18.
So you're 18 years old. That being said, when did you turn pro?
I turned pro when I was 17. I turned pro last year, October. So I was 17 for about 4 months.
Did your parents have to sign any specific documentation to allow you?
Yeah. They had to sign quite a few papers to allow me to fight because I was underage, of course. So, yeah.
What about, or I guess I should say this, when you look at boxing as a whole, who are some of the guys that you looked up to and kind of watched? Obviously, Floyd Mayweather's got to be one of them, but who are some of the other names that you have watched throughout your life and really gone, I want to compete and fight more like that guy?
Of course, Floyd was #1. I grew up looking up to him. I watched a lot of Sugar Ray Leonard growing up. A lot of all the great guys. Ali Tyson, of course. It's a lot of Sugar Ray Robinson. A lot of Aaron Pryor, a lot of James Toney, a lot of legendary fighters back in the day. I watched really all of them, put it all together.
What makes a great boxer in your eyes?
Hard work, dedication, drive, and I'd say the great boxers, they all have some God-given talent. Because a lot of fighters, but it's God-given talent with hard work. So a lot of people, they can be talented, but they don't work hard. They'll get outworked and, not dedicated. They won't make it. So, and then there's other guys, they work hard and work, countless hours dedicated, but they don't have the talent. They can only go so far. So I feel like the real great ones have both combined, and that's why they are where they are.
What is that special God-given talent that you have?
I feel like my speed and my skills, just my vision in the ring. I'm able to see things and work off counters real well. So yeah.
I was gonna say IQ.
Yeah.
For as young as you are, and it's not even. I hate to say young because you've been in the gym your whole life. You've been working on this skill your whole life. But your IQ, the way that you see a fight, is different from other people.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's God given. Like to be able to see like the fight that you're in. I think that's God given.
Definitely.
So what are you gonna buy with your first big bag? What do you want?
A house, a nice house. Then after that, another fight. Then I'll probably get like a business. Then after that, then I'll start spending on some toys and stuff.
Okay.
I like that. Building up the assets, making the right money moves. That's a good idea.
Invest.
Yeah.
Invest, man. Take care of your monies. That's right. Will we see you more often in Utah?
Yeah, definitely. Right now I got a few fights coming up, so you know I'm in camp in Vegas. This will be I'm out here of course this weekend, but after this I'll probably be back 2025. If not, I'll be back in December. I'll try to, but if not, 2025 you'll see me a lot out here for sure.
Being a young guy in a career where the spotlight's on you, social media can be the devil. Social media can also be really good to see too. How do you make sure that you stay in this medium space, not to get too high, but then not to get depressed either?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely hard, you know, because I have a big following on social media, you know, and so I got to make sure I stay humble, you know, and my dad helps me a lot with that. He makes sure I stay, never forget where I come from, you know, never forget how I got to where I'm at by hard work. None of it was handed to me, so, you know, he reminds me of that all the time, and I make sure that I keep working hard in the gym, I stay focused, and at the end of the day, that's all social media, you know. We live every day in real life, so you got to do what you need to do. Social media is just social media at the end of the day.
What does your pops mean to you? What does family mean to you?
Everything, you know, family. So makes me work so hard. You know, I want to make a life for my family. You know, and for my future family. You know, and you know, they just push me every day to work harder.
Outside of boxing, what brings you joy?
Outside of boxing, hanging with my family, my friends, playing video games.
What games you play? What's your go-to?
Call of Duty.
You know the Black Ops just came out.
Yeah, I have it. NBA 2K, Madden. What else are we playing?
Isn't Vegas about to get an expansion team? What there talks about NBA getting a team out there?
There's talks. It's
Yeah.
not confirmed by any means.
I think, yeah, we'll see. Probably, see, like Vegas is becoming like a sports. So they starting to have a lot of sports teams. They got a baseball team coming now, MLB team I heard. So
The A's aren't.
yeah, we got the Raiders, and then they got a WNBA. So they're building up. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they have an NBA team soon.
What's your after your fight? You know, you've the work's done. What's your go-to meal?
The night of the fight, I'll probably get some tacos or a burrito, and then the next morning I'll probably get like some waffles.
Are you a Tacos El Gordo guy down there in Vegas?
Yeah.
That place is
fire.
My wife and I stop there every time we go down south. That's where we stop.
Yeah, fire.
CURMEL, man, we appreciate your time, brother. Anytime that you're in Utah, bro, I would love to talk to you, man. Just kick it.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with your journey, man. I love to see it. Props to your pops, man, and the whole team that you got, man. You're making the city proud. Even if sometimes it's weird in Utah, sometimes it feels like, damn, like I ain't getting no love from my own state.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you feel that or not, but there is love out here for you, bro.
Definitely.
And we would love to see you in the state more.
Okay, for sure.
Don't forget about us. All right.
Never.
Go get that win.
For sure.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you.